Hey guys, I've been wanting to make this video for a little bit and I wanted to answer some of your guys' questions about breast augmentation surgery. So I figured I would just do it right now live. I don't have a whole lot of time and sometimes I feel like when I don't edit videos, they just come out more natural anyway. So I'm just going to jump into this. So one of the questions I got asked the most is why I chose to get silicone and why I chose to get underneath the muscle. The reason I chose to get underneath the muscle, first of all, is because the fact that it reduces rippling. So I don't know if you guys ever notice when sometimes girls get it, you'll almost be able to see the bags and it almost will kind of look like all rippled up like their lungs or something, or it'll be like if you're stretching like a water balloon, you'll get that type of look to it. So that's why I chose to go underneath the muscle. Also, another reason I chose underneath the muscle too is because the fact that you want to be able to get mammograms. So they say going underneath the muscle helps you be able to see better with the mammogram, or you can still see underneath the mammograms. So that was very important to me because as you get older, you should get mammograms like every 3 years just to make sure everything's good. Especially too, if you get breast augmentation surgery, you want to keep up with that just to make sure everything's sitting in place and nothing's kind of moving or nothing bad's going on in there. So that was important to me. Secondly, I chose to go with silicone too because that also helps reduce that wrinkling look that will make it look more unnatural. Now, one thing I will say, people had asked me like, what made you choose your doctor? So I had looked for different doctors for a really long time. I'm talking like over a year. Every doctor I went to did not have silicone and saline bags in the office. They only had like one size in basically every doctor's office that I went to. And I thought that was really crazy because you're getting something put in your body for like 10 years or however long, something that once is in there, you can't really take it out like the next day and change your mind. So I thought it was really wild that you're spending all this money and you don't even get to basically try it on. So that was something I thought was wild. And then I found this doctor, he had every silicone and saline size. I got to really play around with it, feel it, try them on type of thing. And whereas other doctors, I didn't have that option. And I feel like holding them in your hand and putting them in your, like your own bra or whatever, and trying them on makes like a really big difference. I thought I wanted one size before I even touched or felt or put them in like a bra before I got them done. And then when trying them, I ended up going with a totally different route. Just because the way they felt. So that's something to keep in mind if you're kind of shopping around. Definitely go to a doctor that has them in their office, because I can't explain to you what you see on the internet in pictures and what you think you might want when you put it onto your actual body, and it's going to be different because everyone's body is so different. So what you might like on somebody else, on like that you see in a photo, you might not like on yourself, and I definitely figured that out. Another thing that you want to be mindful about is that the weight of them, because they're not obviously your real boob. So they don't really go by cup sizes. I thought I wanted, again, a certain size, and when I put them in me, I was like, whoa, this is way heavier. Obviously, they're not real, but I had really big boobs before I got these put in. My boobs were probably bigger than what I got put in. And just the way they feel in you feels way different, obviously, because your boobs are fat. This is man-made. So definitely feeling them, putting them in, trying them on. I remember doing jumping jacks in the room and just walking around a little bit to feel what they would feel like in my actual bra. So that's something to think about. I also, when I went in there twice to try things on. I brought my own bras with me. So when you go to a doctor appointment, I definitely recommend bringing your own type of bras that you would typically wear day to day. I personally never was into wearing like real bras, like padded bras type of thing. Like I was always, like right now I'm wearing a sports bra, and I'll show you. Right now I'm wearing a sports bra, and this is kind of like the bra I've always worn. So I got a 450cc silicone implants. They don't look obnoxious, so like here's my stomach and stuff. They don't look crazy. But if I put a padded bra on, they're like, bam, obviously because I'm adding more texture and stuff. But definitely bring into the doctor's office whatever bra you plan on wearing once you're all healed and stuff. Because if you want, say you want to get a bigger size, but you typically wear padded bras, you might not like the size that it looks when you wear your day-to-day bra. So just keep that in mind, because they'll have you try them on with the bra that they give you, which is like a surgical bra, but that's not something you're typically going to wear once you're healed. So you want to make sure that the size feels good and doesn't feel too heavy in your everyday bra. So that's just definitely something you want to think about. Another thing that I didn't think about that I wish I would have known is that healing with if you end up getting a lift, takes a really long time. Not in a bad way, it's just I didn't think that 3 months out, because it's been almost 3 months, that I would still be healing. Like, my incisions aren't completely healed. I don't have any more holes or anything like open wounds, but I still have, like, most of my pain is, oh, there's a bag right there. Most of my pain is like right here and right here on the ribs, where they really stitch up your ribs because they have to pull them up and stuff. It's still really, really painful here. Like, I can't really like stretch and bend certain ways, like especially if I'm in the car and I bend backwards to like grab something for my daughter, or like say they drop something. Sometimes I'll do it not even thinking. I'm like, oh my God, it takes your breath away. And I think it's because the stitches, because they're dissolvable, they're starting to pull away and dissolve and get rid or whatever. And I can feel that like pulling sensation. It almost feels sometimes like a sting, or like you get stung by a bee. So that's just something to think about, that if you do get a lift, you're not going to be 100% for a good amount of time. I noticed too, like sometimes I'm like, for a week, I think in my head, wow, I'm feeling really good, I'm looking good, like everything's good. But my body, and everyone's totally different, my body likes to spit stitches, where my body tries to like get rid of them instead of letting them dissolve. Fun fact, I had my nipple pierced when I was like 18. I had just turned 18, and I thought it would be cool to do. I don't know, I was young and crazy, and my friends came with me, and my body actually like grew them out to where it just came out one day. I had this thing pierced that grew out. The only piercing that never grew out was my belly button. So even when I had my C-sections, the dissolvable stitches would try to grow out, and that's actually really painful, especially once the incisions close up, because the incisions from like the vertical way is all gone. Like that's all healed. I can still feel like the inside stitches, like they feel really thick, kind of hard, but like every day they get a little bit thinner. But where it is with the ribs, because he had to do, I remember him saying he had to do like extra on this side because my ribs are uneven, kind of like my face and my teeth. But so there's more over here, because they're still like, they're closed, but they're not completely closed. Like there's still some scabbing and stuff, and I can feel that the incisions, or the stitches, are still trying to like pop through and spit out. So like on the one incision, there's like it's closed up, but the little stitch is still kind of poking through, you know, and that actually ends up hurting, especially if like clothes rub up against it, because it's like irritating, I guess you could say. So I feel like once those stitches and are more, I guess, in me, and the incisions is way more closed up, it won't be painful, and that would be great. So that's just something to keep in mind if you do get the breast lift. Don't expect to feel better in a month, because I know I had that expectation, because most of the people I knew got regular just the augmentation, and they felt great within a month. So something to keep in mind. The spitting stitches too stuff is kind of scary, because it hurts, one, and then it can cause little holes. I didn't expect to get little holes like at all throughout the incisions. Like it would be good one day, and then a week later it would almost be like a little hole where the stitch had popped, or the stitch had popped through, and then it would basically like leave a little hole there, and you just have to make sure that that doesn't get infected. definitely stock on Bactrasin. Stock up on that. It's like a triple antibiotic just to keep it nice and clean, because you'll be using it a whole lot, especially if you get the lift. I still put it on, especially after I shower. And if I'm working out and I get really, really sweaty, the first thing I do is I make sure when I get home, even if I can't shower, I'll just like take soap and water, clean it, and then I put the Bactrace on it, let it dry, whatever. Expect to do that for a while until you heal, just because you don't want it to get sick or infected, whatever. Sorry, I'm really tired. But so that's like super important. I just wish I knew how long recovery was going to be. Something else that you want to think about too is timing. So like definitely I would time it out like 6 months before summer. If you expect to like be in a pool, swimming, anything, I would give yourself at least a good 6 months to heal. Settling, I never had the issue where they didn't settle like differently. Luckily, mine dropped and sat in place pretty good from the get-go, thank goodness. I didn't have any like craziness with dropping and fluffing. I feel like I never went through that phase where one looked way different than the other. I did get more like that morning breastfeeding look, like where your boobs get really hard. That lasted for a good month, and I remember being really worried about it. One thing I will say too is something to be mindful of. I didn't know this, and I remember freaking out. Is that when you're healing, you're going to see lots of white stuff. And I thought it was like pus and oh my God, I'm getting sick. But that's actually a good sign. It means the skin's healing. It's new skin. It's coming back together. Blood is okay. That means the skin's alive. Obviously, you don't want tons of blood, but like some blood and stuff is fine. That's just that means the skin's alive. It's healing. It's coming back together. It's healing itself. You don't want to see black. That means the skin's dying. That's bad. You don't want to have like a nasty smell to it. That means the skin could be dying or infection. And you can see like a little bit of green. That's okay, as long as it doesn't like get worse. I remember them saying. So that's just all stuff to keep in mind, especially if you get a lift or you get underneath, because it's harder for the skin to basically close up right there. One thing I didn't know is that after I got my lift is that I was going to have to wear the dreaded padded bras like all the time. That was something I absolutely hated. I finally am able to get back in my sports bras just because they wanted to keep them nice and lifted and make sure they stay lifted. So definitely make sure if you get your lift, you keep them nice and lifted for as long as possible, unless you're trying to get them down because they're too high. For me, they wanted mine to sit because they were never too high. I think that's because I had really big boobs before and they had to take away a lot of skin. So if you're like me, prepare to wear a lot of padded bras, which kind of sucks. So I definitely recommend they have ones that zip up the front. I wish I would have gotten cheaper ones from Amazon, because the ones I got from Victoria's Secret, because I had to get them right away because he wanted something that was nice and padded and really tight and zipped up and pushed them together. I wish I would have gotten something cheaper, because when you buy bras at the beginning, your size is going to change. Everything's going to change because you're swollen and inflamed. And I was like a triple D at first, and now I'm like a good double D, which is where I wanted to be. But like you guys just saw, they're not obnoxious and ginormous. They fit my body really, really well. If I would have went with anything smaller, he said it wouldn't have looked great, because I already had so much extra skin from having such big boobs. If I would have went smaller, it just wouldn't have been proportionate. I still would have had a lot of sag up here. But yeah, definitely if you don't have to, don't buy new bras right away. So, but if you get the breast lift, expect to, but get cheap ones so you don't waste your money, because they're not going to fit you in 3 months. Something else that I did not know is that, so my nipples burned, like they hurt so bad, and then they got better, and then they started burning again. Expect to feel good, feel bad, feel good, feel bad. I made the bad decision of, because I do this even when I get sick, is I'll feel good and I'm like, yep, I'm gonna go do me, get back to it, and then I feel even worse. Let your body take time, let your body heal. If you think you're feeling better, pretend you're still not feeling good and treat your body as you're still not feeling good, and just chill out. Like, take that time, because you don't want to regret it. And I did, because I'm somebody, I always feel guilty if I'm not doing something all the time. Like if I'm sitting down, I feel very guilty. Don't feel guilty, even though it's easier said than done. give your body the time to rest. You'll appreciate it because you will probably heal way more fast. Definitely listen to your doctor. If he says don't work out, don't work out. Things like that. You really don't want to risk getting an infection. I got a bad infection when I had my C-section, my first one. And just signs to look for is, thank God I knew the signs to look for. It just sucks that I knew the signs to look for because I already had an infection. Things to look for is feeling fine 1 minute and literally within less than an hour, you get like a spiking high fever. You feel really, really cold, like shivering cold. I remember when I got really sick, it was like 95 degrees out and I was so cold. Like my lips were turning blue. To that level. You don't want to get to that level. I remember I bled profusely out of my C-section scar. It was bad. It stunk. And I kept telling myself, I'm okay. I'm probably just like getting sick, whatever. Don't get to that point. If you start feeling bad and you start feeling a fever, don't second guess yourself. Go to your doctor, go to your hospital right away. That's nothing to play with because you could go into sepsis really fast and that's really scary. So be careful with that. Something else that you want to look out for too is a doctor that is going to take his time with you. You don't want a doctor that's going to rush you. Take your time. I went to a lot of doctors that are like, yep, try this one on. You like it? Okay, you want to sign paperwork? We could get you in like 3 weeks. If a doctor's rushing you like that and you don't feel 100% about it, keep shopping. You're allowed to shop around. You're not wasting their time. Ultimately, this is going to be in your body forever. Also, if you work, luckily I did not work. If you work lifting things, if you work in the home and you have kids and your husband's going away, do not get the surgery until you have people to help you lift children or lift things, or if you have to go to work and you have to lift things, or you have to push things, or you're jumping around a lot, moving around like your arms. You don't realize how much you use your arms and your pectoral muscles until you can't or you're not supposed to. So definitely make sure that when you get this surgery, you pick a good time to where you can take that time away from work, or your people at work will let you like get away with not having, like I said, to lift a lot of heavy things and stuff like that. Because it's crucial, and I didn't know that it was going to be so long that I had to go where I could only lift 10 pounds. 10 pounds seems kind of like a lot, but it's like not that much. So definitely if you have kids and your husband works away from home or he works nights and your schedules don't line up, think about all the times you have to maybe go grocery shopping by yourself and you have to push a big cart, or you have to lift a bunch of bags, or you might have to lift your kid into a cart, or you might have to lift your kid into the car, or just things like that you don't even realize you do all the time. Think about those type of things that you have to do day to day before you get this done, just to make sure. You might not need help 24 hours a day for 3 weeks, but there's going to be times where you're like, oh, I might have to run, or say Amazon you order something from Amazon because it's this happened because it's like a birthday or Christmas time and you get a big package but you have no one to bring it inside for you. Like, that's something to think about. So just like little things like that, definitely think about it before you get the surgery and make sure that you schedule it for when you're going to have anybody there to just help you with whatever you need. Because I know for me, like, my in-laws live 4 hours away. My parents passed away. My husband, like, he works away all the time. So I don't have somebody I can just call that's right down the street. Like, hey, I got this package in the mail and it's 35 pounds and I can't get it in the house. Think about those things, like if you don't have help. So that's something I kind of wish I knew, but what are you going to do? You live and you learn. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me and what I wish I would have known. I'm still healing. I'm at 3 months. They say like 3 months you stop dropping and fluffing and you're pretty much there, but things are still settling, whatever. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. Again, here is like my results. It's nothing wild and crazy. It's exactly what I had before. Probably just a little bit smaller and, I don't know, firm. That's one thing I love too. If you guys don't like wearing padded bras, which I freaking hate, I love the fact that they're a little bit more firm, so like I can wear a shirt. Whereas if I wore this shirt, and it's just like a simple v-neck from Target, if I wore this shirt before I had the surgery and I wore like a padded bra, if I just slightly bent down like that, my nipples were falling out like boop, because they were so sad and just so much loose skin that they had nowhere to go. They were just like, bye. Now they're firmer, and I don't even have a padded bra on. It's not even that tight, and they don't really go anywhere. But if I move, like they move, so they don't look obnoxious and super porn star fake. So yeah, that's just something to think about. But I hope this video helps you guys. If you guys have any other questions for me, leave it below. I hope I covered everything. I wrote down the questions you guys sent me, and then I left it downstairs, and I was too lazy to go get it. So that's where I'm at in life. This is 30. But I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you soon. I don't know how to shut this off. How do I do this? X?